Hey there, I'm Kat, and this is Brews and Reviews. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys my TBR for the Tome Infinity and Beyond Readathon, a sci-fi readathon where you use an interactive map to traverse the galaxy. This readathon was created by Meg from Loops and Lore with Meg. I am one of the co-hosts for this readathon, and the other co-hosts are Steph from Novelty Corner and Eric from Break Even Book. I'll leave all the links to the information you might need for the readathon, including my announcement video for it, in the description below. But let's get into my TBR, because I'm very, very excited. One of my goals for this year was to actually read more sci-fi, and I was like, I'm going to read at least 6 sci-fi books because it's really been something that I haven't been focusing on at all. So I'm like, I could read 6 in this 1 month, and then maybe it'll help me get back into the genre and just enjoy it again. So to complete this readathon, you actually only really need to read 3 books, but you have to at least cover 2 prompts with each book. The way that I've arranged my prompts is that I have 6 books that I would like to read, but all of them cover at least 2 prompts. So if I don't get around to some of them, then I at least stand a chance of actually completing the readathon. I fear I'm just going to be navigating the universe in a sort of the pilot is drunk kind of way, because I could be going back and forth. I'm planning to start off in the Solar Frontier, then go to the Nebular expanse, and then the Cosmic Rift, but after that, I'll probably just double back, go wibbly wobbly, and see what happens, because I just want to read sci-fi generally, and I want to complete a bunch of the other prompts, but I might just not do it in order. So I think I will do the first 3 in order, and then we'll see what happens. So let's talk about the books that are going to cover my Solar Frontier expedition. And the first book that I plan to read is The Day of the Triffids by John Wyndham. But this is a classic that's been kind of like on the periphery of my TBR for a very long time, and I've kind of been wanting to read it because I'm kind of fascinated by Triffids anyway, because I used to love watching Day of the Triffids, so I'm excited to read this one. This one covers the prompt Meteor Shower Detour, which is to read a book from an author you've never read before, and Wormhole X42, which is to read a book that's under 300 pages, because I think it's only about 230 at most. So it's quite a small one. I feel like that is a good one to start with because it'll make me feel accomplished, like getting into the swing of things. I feel like this is the one that I will actually start the readathon with, and I'm excited to do it. Then next up, I've succumbed to a reread that I've been wanting to do for a while, and it's Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and J. Kristoff. I can't help myself. Every so often I get drawn back to this series because I just love it so much. And I just don't even want to justify it. I just love this book. I really want to reread it. I really enjoy the fact that it's a bunch of refugees from a planet that was attacked, and there is a military AI that goes a bit on the fritz, and there might be some sort of space virus. I just enjoy it a lot, and I really want to reread it, so I'm going to, because it's my TBR, why not? Anyway, this one covers the prompts for Space Rocket Orion, which is to read a book that features technology or an AI, and obviously Aiden is in there, so I'm very excited to go back to it. While I hate AI in real life, I just love it in my science fiction, so it also covers the Solar Flare Challenge, which is to read a book with a warm or bright coloured cover. Very much fire on the front of this cover. I think it suits, it'll work. Now moving on to the Nebular expanse, where the first book I'll be reading is Artificial Condition by Martha Wells. This is the second book in the Murderbot series. I was going to say, how many was in it? I don't know how many's in it. I think there's 5. Is that a quintet? Probably. I read Murderbot last year and loved it because Murderbot is a really interesting character, and I think I've kind of resisted picking this one up because the audiobooks are so short for a full credit on Audible, and I read the first one on audio and I really enjoyed it that way, so I really want to continue it that way. It's just I find it hard to justify what will take me, because I listen on 3.5 times speed, about an hour to read for a whole credit. So I think I'm going to push through because I really want to continue with this series. Murderbot is essentially a bot that has been designed to do murder, but their systems were corrupted and they have managed to retain their own personality. All they want to do is just not be perceived by anyone. They just want to go about their business and watch their shows and just live their own life whilst also saving humans. So I'm really interested to see where this one goes, because at the end of book 1, Murderbot struck out on their own, and I'm just really interested to see where that goes. So this one fits into the Asteroid Belt Dilemma, which is to read a short story or a novella. So I mean, this helps me justify the fact that I'm going to be buying such a short book, so I feel better about that. It also covers the Pulsar Research Station, which is to read a book featuring a unique or brilliant protagonist. I personally think Murderbot is brilliant, and I would like to read about them. And this one also covers a third prompt, which is the Starlight Relay, which is a book that is highly recommended or rated by others, and I just think the entire Murderbot series has been very highly rated by a lot of people, so I'm just really excited to read it. The next book I have for the Nebular expanse is For We Are Many by Dennis E. Taylor. This is the second book in the Bobbyverse series. I read the first book last year and found it really interesting, and it had some really fascinating concepts that I'm really eager to return to, especially before I forget too much about the first book. Bob is a guy who got really rich and decided to sign up to have his brain scanned, and in the event of his death he was going to be reborn as an artificial intelligence and his memories would be preserved. Only the day after he signs up for it, he dies. So he wakes up a couple hundred years later when there's been full-scale wars, the Earth is not having a good time, lots of people are dead, and everybody's pretty much trying to like launch space probes because that's the new frontier. Now, I don't want to say too much more because it will spoil the first book, but essentially Bob ends up getting replicated and replicated and replicated, and there are so many different versions of Bob, and you start to question what version of Bob is the original version. Are any of these copies actually matching the original version of Bob, or are they all variants that are vaguely different? I don't know, it's really interesting to think about, and I really want to know how this continues. So the prompts that this one fits into are: the first contact zone, read a book with alien or unknown species in it. There are alien species in this that the Bobs come into contact with that are really interesting. And the Cosmic Library, which is to read a book about knowledge, history, or archives. And I think it's really interesting. I'm kind of categorizing this one on, you'll have to tell me if you don't think you agree with it, but I feel like because there are so many Bobs and they're all sharing memories and knowledge with each other, I feel like it counts for this because they're accumulating knowledge and like sharing it out among the Bobs of the universe. I don't know, it just seems like it fits to me, so we're just going with it. Okay. And finally, let's move on to the last section of the universe, the Cosmic Rift. So the first book I'm going to read for this one has been on my TBR for such a long time, I have to read it. And it is Dead Silence by S.A. Barnes. This book is about a beacon repair team that pick up a distress signal from a luxury space cruise liner that is abandoned and something horrible has happened there, and it has like some of the things I really like, which is like confined spaces, and it's that mix of sci-fi and horror, and sometimes I feel like that really works. I feel like this book should tick all of my boxes, so I'm very excited to read it, and I've been putting it off because I don't know, sometimes I put off books that I think I'm really going to enjoy. Anyway, I'm finally going to read it for this readathon. This one actually only completes one prompt, so I'm going to have to read this one and the other book that I picked for the Cosmic Rift, but I kind of did that on purpose and I'll tell you why in a minute. But this one covers the unknown planet M, which is to pick a book randomly, and what I did was I just picked 3 books and then did like a random number generator. Anyway, this one came out. If you want to know what the other books that were in the drawer were, they were Jurassic Park and Wool. Neither of them got picked, but who knows, maybe I'll read them at some point. So let's talk about the final book that I'm putting on my planned TBR. They might have some other books that I'm going to add on at the end that I'll just tell you about briefly, but this one is a book that I've put on my yearly TBR, and it's one that I really want to push myself to read, so I've kind of made it a necessity that I have to read this one to complete the readathon, because I don't know, I like to make things difficult, I guess. The book is Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey. This is the first book in the Expanse series, and she's big. She's large. She's really expansive, one might say. And I have been really wanting to start this series for a while. My dad has just read the whole thing, so I own all of them on audio because that's where he's been reading them. And I just think that it's a great way to force myself to read it. And I say force myself. I don't mean like I don't want to read it. I just mean it in a way that sometimes big books stare at me and they're intimidating and they just keep looking at me like they're gonna like, and I run away from them. So let's hope I don't run away from it this time, or else I'm not going to complete the readathon and everyone's going to be sad and you can all yell at me in the comments. Please don't yell at me, I'm fragile. Anyway, my point is I actually don't know anything about this series. For some reason it gives me kind of Battlestar Galactica vibes, and I don't want to know if I'm right or wrong with that. I'm just going to go into it completely blind. See what happens. That may be a terrible move, but that is the move I'm making regardless. The prompts that this one fits to are the black hole anomaly, read a book where the truth is hidden or there is a mystery, and I know because when I was making this TBR I looked at the blurb for this book and it did tell me there was some sort of mystery. I've managed to forget what the mystery is, so is that the mystery in itself? Is the whole thing a mystery because I've got a memory like a sieve? Oh dear. Anyway, the other prompt that this one fits to is the supernova. Read a book that has been on your TBR forever and is about to explode off. This one has actually been on about 3 yearly TBRs, and I've just not really mentioned it to you guys because I didn't want to read it. I didn't want anyone to force me to read it because it's giant and I was avoiding it because that's what I do sometimes. But now I'm telling you, now I've got to read it. It's got to be done. Now let's quickly go into some other books that I have that I don't know at this point in time if they're gonna fit any of the prompts. I'll see if they do. You never know. Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. Keep wanting to reread this one. The science fiction is science fiction-y in this book. We love the dinosaurs. Also, I think this technically counts because dystopian is technically sci-fi. Mockingjay. I'm rereading the Hunger Games series at the moment. I'm also going to be reading Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and we're just going to pretend that it fits. I might attach it to some of the prompts in this readathon. I might not. Probably won't, but I'll still read it in the month. I am looking forward to reading just additional sci-fi stuff as well, and if I can fit it to any of the prompts, then I will, but the ones that I have specifically tailored to try and read for the prompts are the ones that I told you about. If you're planning to join in with us for this readathon, then please let me know in the comments below. Let me know if you posted a TBR video, because I really want to go watch and see what everyone else is reading. And if you made it this far into the video, please leave me some sort of space emoji, a star, a moon, a spaceship, I don't know, go crazy. Go crazy. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!